All right, Kyle, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Will. Appreciate it.
M- My pleasure. My pleasure. Well, I'm stoked for our conversation today, Kyle. We've known each other for, I suppose, a little bit over a year, and have been working together through the EOS process for a little more than half of the year. And you are the founder, owner, visionary of Cosand Construction, and so I'm stoked to dive in deep today into your business and everything that goes along with it. So let's just get right into it, man. What inspired you to launch and found Cosand Construction?
I did give this a little bit of thought. I've always had a passion for construction and building things. It started out when I was probably 13 years old. My uncles for Christmas or birthday or something bought me a miter saw router, which is kind of crazy. But I would start out by building bike ramps and digging through dumpsters to find material that I could work with, and kind of spiraled out of control there. Went to SDSU for construction management.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, I've worked for a larger GC in the area, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I loved every aspect of the construction side of things. I think the main reason I started Cosand Construction was the freedom that comes along with it.
mm,
Um, there is there's a lot of I work just as much as I used to. It's just a little more flexibility and being able to do the things I need to do when I need to do them, rather than
mm.
being tied to a typical 8 to 5, or having the responsibility of running, being on site with the crews all the time. To be
Yes.
fair, I also had no idea that when I started that I'd grow to this, and always really striving to work on a lot of unique projects and fun projects.
Yes. Awesome. Well, the topic of freedom is so huge when people go to start an endeavor, to start a business, because, you don't set out to start a business to be tied in the day to day, to be working 80 hours a week, right? You start a business to create the freedom so that you're not working for someone else, that you can, prosper financially, that you can have that work life balance. And all too often, owners turn it around where the business ends up running them, not vice versa. And so that's why I'm so stoked to be working with you and your team, because you've implemented EOS and you've embodied what freedom looks like for you and your family. And so it's just been so cool to see your guys' growth through the journey. And how scary was it for you initially when you left your secure job? You took that huge risk. It was a leap of faith for you to start it. I mean, was there a lot of fear in that, or how did you overcome it?
For me, probably not. For my wife, probably more so. We had a 1 year old at the time, and so we I just had one kid at the time, which was nice. But really jumping into it, it was very much, yeah. I saw that I'd have some more flexibility. I'd have more time to be around the kids when I needed to, rather than working 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Right? That was a
Hmm.
challenge. So yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of second nature, honestly, to kind of jump feet first into things. So
Yes, you're a hot quick start, buddy. Typical visionary.
yeah, that's right.
Yes, yes. Um, so with that said, as you guys, what year did you guys found Cosan Construction?
I started January of 2013.
January of 2013. So, you're roughly 13 years into this thing, Kyle, and you guys are experiencing a tremendous amount of success now. What are some lessons or things you learned early on that maybe you wish you would have did differently when you started the company?
Yeah, so when I started, I mean, the big thing there is you just have to be hungry, right? Like, it's just
Mm,
grit at that point. Just getting jobs, getting the work complete. Very little structure, just doing what you can to keep a paycheck rolling. And I'm thankful for a few of my partners that got me into that. Where I was doing flooring. I started out doing flooring installs, moved to bathroom remodels, new construction, new residential construction. Just kind of spiraled up to where we're at now. Operationally, we're 180 degrees from where we were. Honestly, if I could start over again, the one thing I'd likely change is being a little more aggressive on the leveraging side earlier on, just with
mm,
taking on projects, maybe some specs and things like that. The other thing that was huge, I think, is also putting much more focus into marketing and branding. I
Mm,
was, uh, I was, I would say I was probably anti-branding or anti-marketing, just because it is a deep dark hole, and if you're not doing it right, it's scary, and you can spend a lot of money really quick.
mhm.
But in the last few years, we've really seen kind of the fruits of the marketing, spending that money and having it come back as a return. Um, yeah, I think that's really what accelerated us a few years ago. I think if people look back, they think we're just started. I think, the general public would say, "Oh, Cosand, we started seeing you around, 2, 3 years ago," and it's really been 13. So
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that, Kyle, because your guys' branding and marketing is incredible. And the investment that you made is so clear. I mean, I see you guys on the billboards around town, your branding, your logo. I mean, everything is beautiful. And to your point, many times, especially in construction, owners don't see the value in marketing. They're like, I don't need that. I don't need the logos on trucks. I don't need the billboards. But I love to hear that you found so much success in it in the industry where people don't really love marketing.
yep. Oh, it's tough. It's tough because it's expensive. Like it's a net necessity in my opinion. So we keep
Yes.
spending more and more every year on marketing. So
Well, I know our good friend Kendall over at Book Your Billboard. He loves working with you guys, and so it's that's actually how I think we met almost a year ago was through Kendall. But one of the things, Kyle, that's really unique to you and your company is that you are the visionary and your wife is Brooke, is the integrator. And so, how has that been growing the business with you and Brooke in the business? I mean, I think most guys would say that they could never work with their wife, but you guys seem to be thriving. So, talk about that.
yeah. So the big thing there with Brooke is, obviously being the integrator, she's definitely more structured than I am. Generally speaking, I'd say it's easier for me to work with her than it is for her to work with me. Um, but
Hmm.
by definition, I can be a bit unpredictable, and I love it, but it can frustrate her, right? So I would say, she never knows what's coming out of my mouth, or what idea I have next, or where I'm going, or what I want to buy, or if I got land under contract or anything like that. And so that's where the challenges come in. Honestly, the big thing though is, I think the one thing between a visionary integrator is needing that high level of trust, and I don't see who you would want to trust more than your spouse.
Mm,
Um, that's a critical one for me. And, she's given me the freedom when she came on board. She came on board in 2020, with a strong background in construction accounting,
hmm.
probably one of the best in the area. And, by her taking that off my plate, I was able to focus more on what I was better at rather than trying to do the books and trying to do the billings and trying to track change orders and all the remedial stuff that needs to get done that I'm not interested in, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, I think you talk to most bankers around, I think the amount of detail that she provides just on all levels is has really kind of accelerated us too.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me looking in and working with you guys, Brooke is a rock star as an integrator and in the financial seat. And, with a lot of my clients and a lot of companies I see in construction, there is a hole in that finance department. And to your point, either the owner is, trying to do the finance when he can, or they have someone doing it who's not really adequate or who has the experience and ends up being a major issue. And so it sounds like, when Brooke came on and was able to alleviate, that stress of that finance seat, would you say that's kind of when your company was able to start to grow exponentially, was when you were able to get that off of your plate?
I would agree. I think that's what allowed me to think maybe more bigger picture, focus on the
Mhm.
sales and the design and the concepts and the partnerships and all those things. It gave me definitely way more flexibility for that.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, and you alluded to it already, you being the visionary, big ideas, big relationships, not necessarily wanting to get in the trenches of the business, whereas the integrator is really the opposite characteristics, where it's you're very entrenched in the business, you're responsible for leading and managing that leadership team. And so yeah, it just seems like the perfect relationship that you and Brooke have established. So um, you guys are the epitome of what I like to see in EOS clients with that visionary integrator. So it's awesome, man.
Heck yeah.
And so you said you started off doing flooring, bathroom, kitchen remodeling. Fast forward, tell the audience where you guys are at today. I mean, what type of work are you doing? Who are the clients that you service?
Yeah. So, we're a very highly focused in commercial projects at this point. We have four divisions. So our four divisions are general contracting, which focuses on helping small businesses get into spaces, whether it's a new building, a lease structure, a build out, any of those remodels. That kind of covers at a quick glance the GC side of things. Subcontracting, we get the honor of working on a lot of really big hallmark projects in Sioux Falls. So if anyone's been into, I reference Hotel Phillips a lot, the airport, Sharapa, Steel District. We've been able to do a lot of those projects, a lot of hospital work with the Barry McKinnon under other GCs. And so we're known in that realm as kind of the premier finish contractor. Um, we have our production division, which is manufacturing architectural features, casework, solid surface countertops, kind of anything unique. We like the one-off stuff, especially in that area.
Hmm.
And then our final one is our service and warranty, which really kind of ties all that together. They handle a lot of the smaller projects, whether business needs a door replaced or, some of the smaller remodels we throw under that area. And then they also cover, promptly any warranty items, whether it's a door that needs adjustment, a lock that's not working, a piece of concrete settled, right? So just really backing into that customer service. The other things that I would say sets us apart is, our client focus. We try to be a resource partner with our clients. Construction gets to be fairly scary for people that haven't done it before.
Hmm.
They're afraid they're intimidated by it. I think by the cost, the cost impacts in construction are huge. Um, and it has huge effects. So we've combated that by helping them with finding land, developing concepts, initial budgets before they really have to commit to sinking any cost into a project. We've also developed a lot of things with our cost calculator on our website that helps with some transparency, trying to get realistic budgets in front of people so they don't have to come in blind, on how big they want to go versus what's the cost, kind of that circular conversation we run into. Um, we also got our new business Walk Thru Plans. That'll be up and rolling in a couple weeks. That'll help bring that vision to life for clients. That way they know what they're getting and get them excited before they actually build it. Help catch mistakes that maybe not mistakes, but maybe changes that they would have wanted once they actually see the building in process. And really, I guess overall, my personal mission is really to help as many small businesses as possible grow. I think
Mm.
the building, a lot of people when they move into their space, it's kind of a catalyst for growth for their business.
Yes, yes, 100%. And there's a lot to unpack there on what you just said. I want to dive deeper into the walkthrough plans here shortly, but what an amazing evolution of the business in that, again, you started off with the flooring to the bathroom kitchen remodeling to doing some residential construction, then really honing in on that finished carpentry side, and that becoming what you guys have were known for in the local community and still are today, then to really taking on that GC hat, that design build hat, and starting to take on these big commercial projects of your own. And I mean, again, it's been fun to watch over the last couple of years, you guys just getting bigger and bigger and bigger projects. And so, what was that like when you went from being focused primarily on the finished carpentry to transitioning to the full GC seat and taking on bigger projects? I mean, was it a tough transition or was it pretty seamless?
We've always been a GC. We just weren't as hyper focused on it as we are now.
Mhm.
Um, that was Brooke and my background was on the GC side. the changes in that are, at that point we're dealing more client focused rather than with other contractors. That's probably the biggest change difference. We're dealing with people that we have an understanding, they have an understanding, and it's very cut and dry with the large commercial projects. When you get into the projects with owners, it tends to be they maybe haven't gone through the build process before. So the educational component's a lot larger than what it is working under some of these large projects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really coaching them. I mean, that's the best way to probably put it.
Yes, yes. Well, and that client focus that you talked about, for me, I knew nothing about construction 5 years ago when I got into the industry, and I was as green as you could be. I knew nothing about design, nothing about the actual construction process, and so I am well aware of these clients that you come across that are business owners trying to grow their business that have no idea of that construction process. And if you can be transparent, if you can save them some costs up front, and if you can really be that education partner, it just means all the world to them, and it makes the construction process not so scary, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Makes it
So
fun.
yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, you're a teacher at the end of the day, and I think one of your core values is educate, right?
Educating, yep. That's our first core value.
Yes,
So
yes. What are the rest of your core values?
educating, building, adapting, and growing.
Awesome, awesome. And how pivotal, obviously through the EOS process, we established those core values, and we believe you should hire, fire, reward, recognize, review, all from the core values. They're who you are at your core. They define the culture of your organization. I mean, how important have those core values been for you guys as you guys have established this incredible culture and, are really growing at a rapid rate?
I would say the first thing I'd say about core values that I tell people a lot is, it's always that buzzword. It's got a negative connotation a lot of times. When we were thinking about our core values, we really focused on not making them aspirational.
Mm,
We tried picking ones that we were already doing. So it wasn't it
yes.
wasn't it wasn't a stretch to get there. It was very much like, hey, here's who we are, and here's going forward, here's who we're going to continue to be. And I think those are critical. Every quarterly conversation, every interview, every meeting, anything like that, those are always prominent topics. We have them displayed in our shop. We have, we'll quiz people on them every quarterly meeting, make sure they're
Mm,
they're they're still remembering them, and have them explain what it means to them, because I think
mm,
getting buy-in is the hardest part in the core values thing. So
yes.
I think it's as time has gone, it's become a lot easier to get
Yes.
people to embrace them.
Yes. Well, and that's also large in part because you guys crush it at doing your quarterly state to the company, getting all of your employees together in a room each quarter, talking about the vision, talking about the culture, talking about the core values, where you're going, where you've been. I mean, it's just so powerful when you do that, and you guys do an exceptional job of that. So it's no wonder why everyone knows the core values now, and you've been intentional with the culture. And what owners often don't realize is that culture is happening whether you're intentional about it or not.
Yep.
And so what you allow is inevitably defining culture. And so if you don't have those handful of core values, those handful of guiding characteristics that define the culture, then the culture could end up going in a way that you don't want and that you don't appreciate.
Yep. No, I mean, I think that's the probably the most important component of that is hiring
Mm,
around those values, just because, especially as every new person we bring in, it's a new opportunity to vet them under those, hey, here's how we operate. And if you don't align with that, that's okay. That's totally fine. You're just not a fit for us.
yes. Yes, exactly. Saves a lot of heartache on both ends, if you can get those core values, that alignment up front, versus not being intentional about it. Then you hire someone, and 6 months down the road, you got to let them go because they didn't fit your culture. So yeah, so you talked about walk through plans, something
Yeah.
that is new to the Sioux Falls area. What is walk through plans, and why did you decide to launch this new business?
Yeah, so I was looking at this about a year ago. It's probably been not quite a year ago now. And I just, we've seen the struggles on the construction side. Looking at an 11 by 17 print doesn't give you the best visual. Even myself, I find myself referencing room sizes in our office to compare to, right? So
Mhm.
we we ran across it, and this is one of those where I came to Brooke and I'm like, hey, so we're gonna do this. This is a visionary. I do feel like it integrates really well. It ties, I think it ties into our education focus really well. And the big thing is, this facility, it's gonna be one of the largest in the nation by projection area of any of
Wow.
the different models out there, different business franchises out there. Um, and it'll really be second to none. We wanted to make it an experience along with it. So we're focused on scent, we're focused on sight and sound, and all the feelings that you get when you're really in that build process. So we invested in high end audio for it, whether it's just ambient noise during the walkthroughs, or if it's presentations or educational, or a lot of mic setups for um, BIM coordination meetings, any of that stuff. Really, we tried to hit as many use cases as we could with that. And then I think the other cool thing, is that this is probably one of the very few that's purpose built. We built a brand new facility for it around walkthrough, rather than finding a just a metal garage to throw some projectors in. Right? We wanted to ensure that we're delivering the same level that we are at the Cosand side. Um, Another cool thing about that is, we probably have more experience with we have a team of three essentially for that business. It doesn't take a lot, but I mean, between the three of us, we've got over 60 years in construction experience or design experience.
Mm.
April will be running that on the day-to-day side of things, and she has over 20 years in the interior design, product design, bid spec kind of world. And then Brooke and myself, we've been in it each for about 20 years. So I think I don't know that you would find a team in that business type that has that level of experience, or has gone through the trials and tribulations and the issues, and that can relate to a lot of what these homeowners are seeing. But yeah, I think we're super excited about bringing it to the Sioux Falls market, and just knowing we're going to find a lot more use cases for it, whether it's government work or whatever that might come to be.
Yes, yes. Well, just to dumb it down for the audience, I mean, if you just imagine a large space where you can lay out all of the plans. So exactly what you said. Instead of taking your plans on a sheet of paper where you can't touch, feel, see the actual space, now you can walk into this building where those plans are projected out onto the floor, and you can walk through and get a real sense for how much space there is on where appliances need to go, and the actual design. I mean, how powerful and how much time and cost is going to be saved on the back end for people when they can do this stuff up front. Because I mean, you're obviously in design build, like I'm sure that many times you build something and the owner is like, well, this isn't what it looked like in the plans, right?
Oh, absolutely. So the other cool thing about it, right? Yeah. So projection wise, you'll be able to see your floor plans in real life size, right?
Mm.
Everything will be spaced accordingly. We'll have modular walls. We'll have furniture that we can roll around to get that true sense of size. And um, I think some people, you're gonna find both ends of the spectrum. Some, they're gonna figure out that, wow, this is huge, and you're gonna have some that, oh, that's too tight, right? Like I think the
Mm.
that everything from door coordination, right? Like where your door swings are ending up, where your light switches are. We can project photo. They're all 4K projectors, so we can project flooring textures depending on what level of design you're looking at. So I mean, I
Wow.
I, I think back to a lot of at even a simple level, a lot of people, they might anticipate their flooring running north to south, right? And they get in there and the installer ran it east to west. I mean, Yeah, those are some of those things that might get lost in translation, where if we can model it exactly how it's going in, it really gives the team the confidence to move forward quickly. There's no hesitation on, hey, here's what this is going to look like. It eliminates the opportunity for change orders. Um, and change orders alone are, the average change order. I think there's a stat out there that it's, $3,000 to $4,000 is an average cost of a change order, right? So
Hmm.
for way less than that, you can walk through and find those things before they become an issue. So
Yes, yes. Well, so exciting. And you mentioned April Koyman, who's kind of
yep.
leading the show over there for you guys. She's an incredible human being and very excellent in the design world. So I applaud you for bringing her on to lead the way there, because that's going to be amazing for all the people that come in and get to experience Walk Thru Plans.
Yeah, no, it'll be awesome. And we're going to be doing our ribbon cutting is April 2nd on that one. And our goal is really to get a lot of the industry in there, in the next couple weeks, just showing them around and giving demonstrations. And I think that there's going to be there's a lot of interest from a lot of different architects on upcoming projects. And,
Hmm.
even from a fundraising standpoint, hey, how do we excite people that might be investors or donors to really see the whole vision rather than just a pamphlet, right?
Yes, yes. Awesome. Well, Kyle, when you think about Cosand Construction, when you think about Walk Thru Plans, I mean, what is the long-term goals for the organization? I mean, where do you want to take these things over the long term?
Yeah, so our primary goal first and foremost is to grow strategically. I mean,
Hmm.
that's we don't want to step over our skis, so to say. We want to make sure we're doing everything the right way and getting our processes in line. And I feel like 25 specifically was really set up in the sense that we were building for 26. I mean, just
Hmm.
our trajectory in 26 is going to be wild. And I think you have to spend the time, and it always takes longer than you think, but to get all the things in place before you do that. Because it's anything you do, it just magnifies, right? So if you're doing things well, it's going to magnify in a good way. If you have a gap in your process, it's going to magnify in a not so good way. Um,
Hmm.
our goal is to train employees, get them to grow into their right roles. Right person, right seat's huge with us. Help them grow if they have a desire to grow, and then bring on we want to bring on rock stars if there's someone that fits our culture and has the skills or at least has the drive. That's important to us. Our goal is to continue attracting significant talent, build larger projects, more complex projects, and really contribute heavily to the Sioux Falls real estate market. I think I love Sioux Falls. I'm a huge proponent of Sioux Falls, and so anything it's really cool to look back and see that drive by 500 different buildings that we've worked on in some capacity. So
Hmm. Gosh, that's so cool. And as you think about achieving those long-term goals, one thing that we didn't talk about that I just applaud you and your team for is Cosand University and your ongoing training for your people. I mean, when I was integrator at another construction company, I was responsible for hiring, and we really struggled to hire quality carpenters. And then I look at you guys, and you've got what, 20 carpenters on staff,
probably somewhere around there, yeah, plus
roughly?
or minus.
Yeah, and you guys have an incredible retention rate. So talk about the value. What is Cosand University, and what value has that provided to the organization?
So that's a continually evolving item, but we try to get guys together for really training them on task specific items.
Hmm.
Sometimes that lands internally, and sometimes we view it as even an external thing. So everything from right now in the hopper, right? We send guys to OSHA 30. Most all of our leaders have OSHA 30, and most of our carpenters have OSHA 10.
Hmm.
We send guys to in the next month. We've got guys going to CDL training. We bring people in to do first aid training with the full team. We try to get as well rounded of training as possible, um, from a quality standpoint, from a knowledge standpoint, from a safety standpoint, just to help them grow in their skills. One thing I'll bring up too that's intriguing to me is, we've had a decent amount of project managers in the past, and the wild thing to me that I think it's wild. I kind of it goes both ways. I do wear it as a badge of honor though, is, every one of those project managers that worked for me, they've never gone to work for someone else. They've all gone off on their own. So I mean,
Oh,
that's
wow.
one wild little fact. It's yeah, we'd love to hold a lot of them, but it kind of makes me proud in the fact that they have the confidence to go on their own after working for us a lot of times. So a lot of them we have good relationships with yet, and sometimes they're a sub to us.
Yes, yes. Well, man, that is a huge accomplishment, something that you should be proud of in a world where project managers tend to bounce from GC to GC to GC. And if yours are only leaving because they want to start their own business, well, you've got the right culture and you're doing the right things. So, absolutely, I think you should be proud of that. That is wild.
Yeah, it's a
And
unique one when I look back. I don't know, none of them have ever gone to work for anyone else, which is wild. So
wow, wow, wow. And again, like, of course, you hate to see them go, but it's part of educating and empowering people to live the life that they want.
right. Oh,
And
absolutely.
I mean, they're just following a similar path to what you did. I mean, you set the example, leaving your job as a PM, then launching Cosand. So I'm sure that they're inspired just from the start that, well, he's done it. He's built this incredible company. Why don't I give it a shot?
Yeah, what was it? Richard Branson. I think it was a Richard Branson quote, something like, you know, train them so they have the ability to leave, treat them well so they don't have to, type of thing, right? Like,
Mm,
I mean, the goal is to yeah, they've all left on good terms. They've all, it was all very much, they wanted to try it. So more power to
mm.
them.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. They might be back someday.
Possibly.
But awesome. Well, I wanna shift the conversation to EOS.
Yeah.
You guys have been, going along the process for about 2 years now. Um, what has EOS done for you and for the company? How has it impacted your guys' growth over the years?
Yeah. So EOS in my mind has been pretty instrumental in giving me, freedom to work within my strengths, I would say. Um, it's given me the ability to delegate and delegate and elevate. Um,
Mhm,
it's me getting rid of the things that I'm not so good at, right? And hiring those weaknesses, or maybe not even weaknesses, maybe it's just things I don't want to do, right? There's the
mhm,
four quadrants of, you know, loving it, but being good at it, hating
mm,
it, being bad at it. There's all that analysis. I
mhm,
think the big thing I see with small businesses is people are afraid to let go of different tasks, right? They're scared that, oh, this is going to mess up, right? Like this person, I
mhm,
can't, I'm the only one that can do this. And that mentality is a challenge. I actually, it's kind of funny. I receive a lot of calls, like, I mean, sometimes a couple a week, where people are just asking me like, how'd you do that? Right. Like, I mean, and then I talk about EOS. I always refer to it as, EOS plus a financial coach, I think is the ticket, right? Like getting a
mhm,
really strong accounting team that you can work with to grow in your knowledge there, and then really EOS on the process side and getting the right people in there and more the operational side of the business. Um,
mhm,
some of the other things, I think I'm a firm believer that we all need coaches in some capacity. Like our last meeting, we hit our 80%.
mhm,
I still have zero intentions of going without an implementer because that accountability is huge. I think even the even the best coaches in the world have coaches generally.
mhm.
Um, so I see the value in that. I think that's the hump it takes a lot of people never get over, is being willing to pay for coaching or consultants or anything like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'd say some of the shockers with EOS, right? Like a lot of long-term employees, that's changed a little bit. Um, our leadership changed a lot, and it's kind of intriguing to me. The biggest shocker to me was a lot of people that were actually in our organization pushing for EOS and the accountability and all that stuff. Once you bring in the accountability, sometimes they want to back off, right? Like it's like, no,
Hmm.
no, maybe I don't want the accountability. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
So I think that was probably one of the more interesting things to me to see is just how the people that really wanted it. And I think a lot of times people that, always thought it was someone else that was not completing something. And then, you start laying out, hey, here's your key responsibilities, of your role.
Hmm.
That's been huge. And also looking at the org chart from hey, this is the box. We're not hiring. We're hiring to fit that box. And if you don't fit that box, that's okay. There might be another role for you, but this is that job. And we've been
Mm.
pretty rigid on that. I think in my mind, the only way EOS doesn't really work is people that bend to accommodate, what they're currently doing, um, which probably isn't currently working. So I think, if you want to be successful with EOS or really any operational system, you just have to fully embrace it and just go almost to a T.
Yes, yes. I couldn't agree more. I mean, you got to be all in. It doesn't work when the visionary wants it, but the leadership team doesn't want it, or if the visionary doesn't want to be rigid in adapting the tools and implementing those tools. I mean, you really got to be all in. And what you talked about with ultimate accountability and delegating and elevating, and the importance of that accountability chart. For you to be able to for you guys to map out the structure of the organization with no names and seats. What is the optimal structure that we need to be successful 1 year, 3 years from now? And for you to be able to see those seats that you're probably in the visionary seat, you're in the finance seat before Brooke got there. You're probably still managing sales. Maybe you're still in the ops seat. Like when you can actually see that on paper, it's like, holy shit, I got to let go of some things, right?
Yep.
And then, for the ultimate accountability piece, when you do have a name in a seat and they have those 5 roles, there's nowhere to hide. And to your point, like some people get a little bit nervous about that, but at the end of the day, most people who want any level of success, they want accountability. They want to be held accountable. And that accountability chart does, because there's no gray area as to who's responsible for what. And so I'm thrilled to hear that that's been of value to you guys.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and one of the last notes I'd always say with EOS in general is I think people need to realize that they have to invest in their company, not in the operation side of it. It's going to cost money up front, but it always pays dividends. Uh,
Mm,
any of that, it's scary. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's the only way you get out of it.
mm, hmm. Yes. Um, and to your point too, like it does take a tremendous amount of humility to take on a coach. And it kind of takes, sh- you know, pulling down that ego a little bit, because the companies that we work with as implementers are successful, right? They've reached a certain level of success, but maybe they've hit a ceiling of some point, whether that be financially, whether that be a people ceiling, whatever it may be. And so it takes humility from the owner, from the leaders to say, no, we want to be better. We want to help take this thing to the next level. And so, no, again, I just applaud you guys for taking that leap several years ago, and I hope that it continues to be fruitful for you guys moving forward.
So I'm confident it will be.
Awesome. Okay, so then, Kyle, you have 3 beautiful kids, obviously married to Brooke, who is in the business. How do you manage this large organization, um, and how do you balance managing the large organization in addition to being a father and to being a husband? How do you manage it all?
A little bit of chaos. No, I'm just kidding. There is definitely chaos. I thrive with just, pushing the limits a lot. Fortunately, with Brooke working here, I mean, Brooke and I spend a lot of time together, all day, every day. So not a
Mm,
bad thing. It's awesome. Couldn't think of a better person to spend it with. Part of the balancing that's been huge is really getting our team built up. We've got an amazing team. Couldn't be more proud of a lot of the ways people step up. If someone's, we have a PM that just had a baby this weekend, which is awesome, and he's gone and spending time with his family, and just the ability, the beauty of growth also is being able to backfill, right? Like, so,
mm,
you're not as dependent on that one person, if they're sick, or if they have a kid's activity, it doesn't become a detrimental thing to your company, and you can give that flexibility to the other employees when they need it. So that's huge. We've cross trained almost all tasks, I would say, right?
mhm,
Or at least some level of confidence in that cross training. Kids are fairly involved in our business, and you know they might hate coming to the office today, but I'm sure they'll remember it.
mhm,
And then being involved, we are very involved in a lot of our kids' activities. And fortunately, it unfortunately involves a lot of travel. Fortunately, that's when I honestly get a lot of my work done, is just I can sit on the phone for 5 hours when we're driving to Rapid and consistently call people that I need to talk to or need to touch base with. And actually, I mean, it turns a productive one. And then I think it also acts as a catalyst for our kids to listen to some of that and just understand, all the ins and outs of what we do, rather than just, providing for them. So,
mhm. Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, your kids are all in hockey, right? So
yeah.
that's like a crazy you're in the middle of it right now, aren't you?
Oh, we're towards the end. I think
Okay.
this week's kind of the end of this season, and then we get a break for a couple weeks, something like that.
Yes. I mean, you guys have a crazy schedule. I don't have any kids yet, and so I've got a lot more free time. But I just am baffled and have so much respect for you and for Brooke being able to manage both, all your kids, all the activities in addition to your thriving businesses. That's no easy feat. So along those lines, Kyle, what is your motivation in life? You've built these incredible organizations. You've built an incredible family. What motivates you to get up each day?
Um, Really, the initial cliche answer, is family, which is 100% accurate. But,
Mm,
a lot of the real reason is understanding how I can make an impact. My goal is to really have a positive impact on as many small businesses as possible, as many organizations in the community as possible, as many employees as possible, and just people in general. Um,
mm,
I'm pretty proud of the fact, that we've been a part of so many hallmark building projects, specifically in Sioux Falls, that'll for sure outlast my lifetime. Um, the other thing I'd love, my ultimate BHAG, I would call it, big, hairy, audacious goal is,
yes.
I have so much admiration for a lot of the large donors in our community. So, you know, my goal in life is really to get to the point where I can have an equal impact in Sioux Falls as the Sanfords and the Beacons and the Lloyds, and a lot of those big names you see, that are constantly giving to a lot of these organizations. I think, Sioux Falls as a community, these really large donors they're instrumental in making Sioux Falls have the quality of life that we do, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate it as much as they could, But yeah, I
Mhm.
just I just look at what they do in the community, and I'd love to at some point, be able to have that kind of impact.
Mm. Gosh, Kyle, that's awesome. Impact. It's about creating impact. You know, many people's motivation in life is money or success, but for you, it's impact.
Yeah,
It's
money's
how
just a tool. I mean, once you get
it's
above the hunger phase, right? Like, I mean, as long as you're covered with food, water, shelter, the basic necessities. Past that, I don't know, it's just a tool.
Yes, yes, and there's diminishing returns, right, to more and
Right.
more money, right? It's like, I think what you hit, like, 100,000 or whatever that metric is, like, the happiness and the joy that it brings you just keeps going down and down and down, and so yeah, I mean, similarly to you, impact is what I'm about as well. I mean, that's what gets me up in the morning. How can I empower entrepreneurs to create a life of freedom for themselves and for their families? And when I hear you talk about, trying to create impact for small business owners and for the community, I mean, that's really powerful. And when you have that mission and that vision at the forefront of your life, I mean, the sky is really the limit. And so it's just powerful to hear you say that, man. So I'm thrilled, and you're already living it. I mean, the impact that you and the organization is already making on the community is so apparent. And so you're on your way, man. That's amazing.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you should be. Um, and really quick, you've got some skulls there in the background. You're an avid hunter, right? Let's
Oh
talk
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, no, I enjoy hunting as much as I can. This last year I was a little too busy. I didn't get out near as much as usual, but um, part of the experience of hunting, in my opinion, is the hunt is great, but it's really it's a really a good way to disconnect and disappear. And we've gone over to Africa, Canada. Um, those are places where you can really see how well your business is operating when you're gone, right?
Mhm.
It gives you a little bit. I don't know if it's good or bad, or it's probably good, but um, it helps you understand that, hey, if I go to Africa for 2 weeks, like, I don't have my phone, I can't solve problems, I can't do anything,
Yes.
and it's still working, right? Like, it's the
Mhm.
ultimate test, or the fishing test, as I'd like to call it. If I disappear, what's going to happen? And if it still functions, it's a little sad too, right? You're like, oh man, they don't really need me, but that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yes, yes, yes. That's, I mean, again, a huge testament to what you've built and the team that you've assembled. And that's what I talk about when I'm meeting with prospects for EOS is I help entrepreneurs and owners go on vacation without their phone.
Yep.
Because 90+% of these business owners, they don't have that freedom. And for you to be able to go to Africa for 2 weeks and do your thing hunting it's pretty cool. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
No, I'd like to do more of it. That's my goal in the next year. We'll see.
I
Keep
love
starting
it.
more businesses, so I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of on me. But
Yes. Well, and what a way to connect with nature and to connect in a way that, human beings lived for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, in a world where we're getting more into metropolitan areas and we're surrounded by technology, we don't have very many opportunities to get back into nature and to, get back into the way that people lived in the past. And so I haven't hunted before. Maybe you can help
oh yeah.
have my inaugural hunt later this fall. But I love that you do that, and that's a passion of yours. So, so with that, Kyle, what is one of your favorite quotes or mottos that you like to live by?
All right. So I thought about this one a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
the I am kind of a quote junkie, so I may not
Yes.
repeat them perfect, but I do appreciate, you know what I mean? If I see a good one, I save it in my notes on my phone, right?
Yes.
Um, the first one I'd say is I'd call it semi-cliche, and it's very much attitude driven, is really the carpe diem, the seize the day, make the
Mm,
most out of every day. That's what really motivates, right? Like, hey, I've got to be productive today, right? Like, everyone
yes.
knows the second you sit on a couch for a day, you're just, but
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of the first one. But the other one that I live by is more of an attitude thing. Um, and this is an old movie quote, but this one's probably stuck with me the longest out of any of them is, don't take life too seriously, or you'll never get out alive.
Ooh, wow.
So, I mean, I don't know if you know my personality, right? Like, I I don't really overreact to bad news that much. You know what I mean? I get a lot of comments from people that, I'm highly optimistic, right? Like, I mean, I
Mhm.
just, I think, I think people, one of my biggest frustrations is, I feel really bad for people that have such a negative worldview, right? Like it's
Yes.
just, enjoy it. What's the point of being miserable? That's a
Mm.
fulfilling prophecy. And, it's life. Like as long as minor mistakes are just lessons, in my opinion.
Yes. Yes. Kyle, that is such a profound quote and super relevant for me to hear too, because I all too often take myself and take my life too seriously. And when you do that, you're riding this wave of highs and lows and highs and lows, and it can really start to wear on your life. And that is something that you embody because you are very level headed. Yes, you're optimistic, but when there's a fire, you're not panicking.
Right.
And that is just the sign of a top-notch leader is when in the face of adversity, you can stand firm and not freak out. That confidence and that calmness that you display, it is distributed out to your entire team. Whereas if you freak out or if you panic, your team feels that and then they start to freak out, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so I really admire that about you, and it's something that I need to take on a little bit more into my life. Is well, life is short. You're doing all the right things. There's no need to freak out about not getting there yet or not achieving certain things. Just
I think it's
enjoy each day.
I think it's very much like I said. I think every opportunity, every mistake is a learning opportunity, right? And for our team, I don't want them to be afraid to come to me with something that got messed up or something that I forgot or whatever, right? Like it happens, right? And so
Hmm.
I think, yeah, I think by keeping that attitude, you don't scare away employees from bringing up real issues. If you freak out, everyone's scared to come to you, and we want. There's another EOS issue or thing, right? Is like we want to solve issues. We want to find the issues. We want to figure out how we can fix those issues rather than hiding them.
Yes, yes. Which again is just so common in organizations. I mean, especially with busy owners who maybe an issue is presented to them, but like, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it later. We'll deal with it later. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, that small issue that if we would have solved 3 months ago and gone away with, now it's this huge fire that we got to put out. And so, yeah, via the EOS process, building that issues list and then helping teams get better at solving those issues is so critical to long-term success. At our annual EOS meeting last week, Sue Hawks, she is an EOS implementer. She just wrote the book Issues for the EOS library. She talked about how we need to think about issues as energy. And when you have these issues that continue to sit on the issues list each and every week and they're not getting solved, those things are weighing you down like a boat anchor. And so until you solve those issues, you're not able to travel quick and start working towards those goals. And so if we can start to think about issues as energy and we need to be as free as we can to move forward with the business, starts to make a little bit more sense. And you can actually start to go and prioritize getting those things solved.
Yep,
So
100%.
yes. So I love that, that reference from her. Kyle, I have to ask, and this is maybe more of a plug. What, we've been working together for a little over half of the year. What's it been like working with me as your implementer?
Yeah, no, I love it. So, full disclosure, Will Powell's awesome. um, um, we
Thank
started
you.
we started with another implementer, honestly, prior to knowing Will, and he was great. He was we were flying him in from Boise, and he had a great construction background. And I'd say big shoes to fill, and I think Will in general has exceeded those
Mhm.
um, by far. I think his no questions, it was a great move to go to a local implementer. Will. I think the one thing I noted was, you generally care about our success, and then you also act as a resource to provide us the tools to get there. I respect, that you align with our core values, which is huge, right? Like
Mm,
you're probably not the right implementer for every organization,
right.
just like an employee, but for ours, you're a really, really good fit. I would say generally, you become a really good friend. And I feel like, if I just have questions, I don't necessarily need to get answers from you. I just might need to quiz you on something. You're always willing to talk. Usually it's nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
um,
You always call me and you're like, "Hey, Will, this isn't a bad thing."
I don't like people going off guard or getting their guard up quick.
Yes.
But yeah, I also, I appreciate the one thing I've appreciated about Will too is just interim check-ins, right? Like just
Mhm.
blindly calling me, and, hey, how's it going? Just checking where everything's at, how you're doing, and I think that's something that's we try to do with our customers, and I think it's something that's missing is like, hey, how do we keep connected, right? After a project, how do we help our customers' businesses grow? How do we keep them engaged and really know that they're not just a paycheck. They're that you really care about them, and how we try to cross support our businesses, right? So
Yes.
I use human being, right? Like that's one that we did last year, and Christmas. Hey, let's. Tracy came up with a great idea of let's go get the coffee boxes and the all the other stuff, and we'll deliver that as Christmas gifts. And then trying to support those businesses as much as possible. And I think Will acts as one of our supporters 100%. um yeah,
Yes.
I think the you helped us with a lot of you help us with a lot of accountability. um yeah, I don't see any. I think for the foreseeable future, I don't see any reason, though we don't really quote unquote need an implementer at this point because we hit our 80%. I have zero desire to go away from having an implementer. So I
Awesome.
think that's where Will fits in the picture very well. Is like he's going to be our partner in keeping us accountable and keeping us rolling. And you know I I just hate to slip backwards, right? And that's
Yes.
that's where that's where I think the implementer or maintaining an implementer, even when on paper you might not need it, is important.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for everything that you just said, man. And I have to agree. I consider you a great friend, and Brooke as well, and the whole team. And it's been so cool to come in and work with you guys when you had so much momentum already, and that momentum, it's not slowing down. It just keeps on accelerating. And so um, I have a ton of respect for you and for Brooke and for everything that you guys stand for and everything that you're trying to accomplish. And so the feeling is completely mutual, man. And I will work with you for as long as you'll have me, buddy.
Heck
So
yeah.
I look forward to a lot of fruitful years moving forward.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
so with that, Kyle, where can the audience find out more about you, about Cosand, about Walk Thru Plans?
Yeah. So obviously our social media and website are the low hanging fruit there.
Mm-hmm.
Cosandconstruction.com, and then walkthroughplans.com//Sioux Falls, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It'll direct you there.
Yes.
Um, and then obviously the social media. That's probably the easiest way to keep updated on our projects. I think another fun thing to do is just as you watch our social media, a lot of times if you go around town, you'll see our green signs. We're trying to
Mm-hmm.
keep that branding prominent and identifiable. And if you're looking for updates on what might be going where, those are that and social media are going to be kind of our best bet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, if there's ever any interest in getting a walkthrough, April Koyman is the gal there, and on the construction side, either Tracy or myself are also on that front. So you can either reach us through the website, um, yeah, or by calling either one of our offices. So.
Awesome, awesome. And I will link your guys' website and socials on this video. But man, thank you so much, Kyle. It's been a pleasure talking with you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you inviting me. It's my first podcast, so hopefully I didn't botch it too bad. So,
You crushed it, dude, as I knew you would.
you know.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Please like, subscribe to the video and to my channel if you found value in this. Appreciate you all so much. Take care.
All
God
right,
bless.
thanks, Will.
Thanks, Kyle. Bye bye.